Determining whether a person is good or bad can be a complex and multifaceted challenge, especially because these concepts can be subjective and vary significantly, according to different cultural, moral, and individual perspectives. However, the philosophy of Stoicism offers some guidelines that can help in this evaluation. Who attracts loyal followers, who is avoided, even in the midst of a crowd? The answers may lie in silent interactions, unspoken gestures, and the invisible ties that bind or separate people. Goodness, like sunlight, has the ability to illuminate and warm those around it. It attracts like a magnet, bringing closer. Those who seek warmth and light, on the other hand, evil, regardless of how well it hides, beneath the veneer of goodwill or camaraderie, ultimately discloses its actual nature, much like a mask that crumbles. It is possible to appear decent for a while, but eventually the mask of deceit comes off and reveals what lies below, and dishonesty cannot continue in this way. There are certain traits that suggest a person leans more toward evil than toward kindness, and by noticing these actions that are simple to comprehend, dynamic among people, and also guide your own conduct to be an even better person. In this video, we will discuss 9 behaviors that reveal evil and uncover the subtle signs that help us identify people's true character. Watch to the end because the last behavior is the most fascinating, and remember that when you are aware of a problem, it is easier to make wise decisions in life and look for wise solutions to improve your relationships. Let's get started. To follow the music channel and hit the like button. Traits of evil people. Number 1, does not repent. Instead of building bridges of understanding and reconciliation, this person constructs walls of rationalizations and justifications to support their position like a fortress, refusing to yield in the face of overwhelming evidence that they are wrong. The incapacity to acknowledge one's faults and grow from them indicates a deeper issue, and possibly hazardous material concealed beneath the surface. This intransigence can take many different forms. For example, it may be a refusal to apologize, a propensity to distort the truth to support their position, or even the capacity to turn the tables and hold others accountable or guilty. In contrast, true goodness is adaptable and humble. It acknowledges that mistakes are inevitable and present opportunities for personal development. Since admitting faults and offering an apology is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength and maturity. Genuinely decent people recognize this when evaluating others. It's critical to see how this individual handles their own errors. Number 2, like seeing others but a repeated failure to repent even when done in an obviously incorrect way is a warning sign that the outward goodness might just be a well-manicured facade. A person who takes pleasure in the pain of others suffers, too. May present a front of kindness and compassion, but their behaviors and responses contradict this look. Rather than providing consolation or support at difficult times, this individual may show indifference, or worse, a subtle smirk or a concealed contentment in the midst of others' hardships. Such conduct is really unsettling and indicates a serious emotional detachment. The inability to empathize with others, and worse, to take glee in their misery, is a blatant indication of a potentially manipulative and malicious mentality. This lack of empathy is not only detrimental to people around them, but also a serious internal defect. This tendency can show up in a variety of subtle ways, such as hurtful remarks passed off as fun, or a reluctance to help when necessary. It can also be more overt when the person takes advantage of the hardships of others, or willfully chooses to disregard their suffering. 3. The third is not devoted. This behavior is characterized by a lack of consistency in their beliefs and a persistent pattern of shifting viewpoints and promises. Even though they may initially look honest, their words soon become stale since they are modified to suit their interests in each given circumstance. This kind of individual may agree with you one day, but entirely disagree the next if they think there is another way that would be more advantageous for them. Their frequent shifting of viewpoints and disloyalty to their own statements indicate deep egocentrism and a propensity to manipulate circumstances for their own gain. These individuals essentially view commitments and relationships as exchanges where honesty and loyalty are given up in the name of self-interest. Such people are untrustworthy sources of support and understanding because of their inconsistent behavior. Although they may appear understanding and supportive at first, This is only a fleeting impression that they alter fast to suit their own needs and interests. This conduct pattern harms relationships and fosters mistrust and confusion in the minds of those around SWS. Number 4 makes a lot of complaints. This never-ending state of unhappiness shows up as a series of less complaints because they perceive flaws in everything, and everyone is overly focused on life's negative aspects, rather than acknowledging or appreciating its positive aspects. This pessimistic outlook can also extend to everyday irritations, interpersonal relationships, and even global events. Rather than looking for answers or taking a more sensible stance, they would rather enter a vicious cycle of negativity. This persistent unhappiness betrays a profound insatiability where nothing is sufficient and they are constantly seeking more. This mindset not only poisons the environment in which they live and work, but also conceals a lack of gratitude and an incapacity to enjoy life to the fullest. This behavior frequently conceals an ungrateful and egotistical attitude that seldom finds true joy or satisfaction in the accomplishments or well-being of others. In addition, the never-ending need for more and the inability to be content can result in manipulative behavior and self-centered behavior. These individuals may utilize their grievances as a means to obtain empathy or assistance from others, seldom making a constructive or beneficial impact on the group's well-being. Usually, being number 5 is 5. Managing this urge for control can take many different forms. First of all, these people may pose as leaders or advisors, providing direction or support, but their sincere intentions frequently conceal an ulterior motive to influence events and people's behavior to fit their own agendas or moral convictions. Moreover, these people may act in an authoritarian manner, imposing their views on others. Their actions indicate that they think they are above others, frequently disregarding the needs, opinions, and feelings of others. They can be rigid and insensitive, demanding that others follow their rules without question. Another aspect of their controlling nature is manipulation. They can influence others' decisions and actions by employing strategies like guilt, subtle persuasion, or even emotional blackmail. This manipulation is frequently so effective that the victims may not even be aware that they are being controlled. The need for control can also result in invasions of privacy and disregard for personal space. These individuals may meddle in affairs that are not their concern, posing as concerned or caring when, in fact, their goal is to continue having influence over others, as number 6 demonstrates. 6. Lack of interest. These people, who are frequently misinterpreted as compassionate and nice individuals, exhibit a concerning lack of empathy and concern for other people. These people have a tendency to dominate conversations by focusing mostly on their own interests, experiences, and problems. They do this in a way that leaves little room for other people to voice their ideas, which is one subtle but significant way that indifference appears. May tell their tales in addition when confronted with others' suffering or joy, these people often react with a cold disinterest, unable to emotionally connect or offer genuine support. This indifference also extends to situations where the other person is the object of someone else's attention. These people frequently display blatant disinterest. They may appear distracted, inattentive, or quick to switch the topic back to something that interests them more. This lack of attention to the needs and feelings of others is not just a matter of poor manners, but a clear demonstration of indifference and lack of empathy, wherein, during a crisis, empathy would be the normal and expected response or, when faced with difficulties, friends, family, or co-workers may appear strangely aloof and provide little to no support. Comfort or assistance number 7. 7 lies frequently. These people use lying as a tactic to control others and circumstances for their own gain. They may fabricate stories, exaggerate facts, or change the truth in order to look better or attract sympathy. This modification might be so subtle that it is difficult to detect at first, distinguishing fact from fantasy. And further concerning feature of this propensity for lying is the willingness to propagate untruths, misinterpret others' words or actions in order to damage them, or incite conflict among people in order to denigrate or discredit others. This behavior not only fosters mistrust and misunderstandings among SWS, but it may also seriously harm the relationships and reputations of people involved.